Hi. So with a movie like Simulant, the way I thought about it when I watched it last night was it is Westworld meets Blade Runner in kind of like how the simulants exist in society, kind of marries the two ideas. And in playing with that, like it is at that point a sci-fi adventure. Is that genre fun for you to kind of unpack character in and get to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I love sci-fi. I'm a fan of sci-fi. I love Westworld. I love Blade Runner. I thought there was some Ex Machina to our show or to our
Yeah, a
movie
little bit.
too. It's funny. I showed my mother-in-law Ex Machina, who's like my wife's mom, who's like not into sci-fi at all. This was years ago at our house, and she just was like, "I want to watch a movie," and I was like, "Look, this isn't a movie you normally watch." I'm like, "Watch it, you'll love it." And she still talks about it all the time to people. She's like, "What's it called again?" I'm like, "It's Ex Machina," but she
It's
loves
the
that movie, and
dance.
yeah, like I just thought the big thing about this was, or what I like about most sci-fi, good sci-fi, is that um, you have to care about the characters, and if you don't care about the characters, sci-fi won't matter. And I
Mhm.
thought what was interesting about this was I sympathized with Jordana's character and what it would be like to lose somebody, and I would probably try and put that person in a simulant, and then I would regret it immediately and want to get rid of them, but not be able to pull the plug. So it's like I get it. I like that the themes in the movie were about love and just trying to find time with people, more time with people. Um, and I like that the robots are not robots. Like the early gen ones are robots,
Yeah.
and then the simulants are people who happen to have technology in their body instead of a brain. And then you start thinking about, well, I mean, what's the difference? And that's kind of where we're going in the real world anyway. So it's all very weird and topical, and I like that it's subjective and that
Mhm.
people are going to disagree, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I do love like Jordana's character obviously is the like, for lack of a better way of describing it, she's like the heart of it because it is all about like her emotions and why she is in this predicament where most of the male characters kind of symbolize the arguments that people have about AI and robots as a whole. Because I love that Sam Worthington's character is like, I lost my family because they did the thing helping us didn't help. And then Simu Liu
Yeah,
is like, what if I just open up chaos, I guess? But I do love kind of how everyone has a different place within this story while still making it a whole kind of commentary, as it were. And so for you, what was like the driving force to make you want to be a part of this? Because it is so fascinating, but it is very much like, oh wow, this is a lot to unpack.
it is. It's a ton. Like everybody's like you said, everybody's kind of on their own journey in the movie. Um, I liked the script, and then I spoke with April, and it felt like we were on the same page about the character and about the tone, and the movie that she wanted to make. Um, Getting to work with Simu Liu and Jordana Brewster and Sam Worthington was like a huge thing for me. I'm like, these are massive movie stars. This is the guy who leads Avatar. This is the guy that leads a Marvel movie, and this is the girl who leads a Fast and Furious franchise. So, selfishly, it was a great opportunity to work with them. And also selfishly, it shot in Toronto, or in Hamilton. So I got to stay home with my family. I have a 3-year-old. Um, but again, I think, I think that it pulls from movies that I'm a huge fan of. Um, I like that there isn't necessarily a hero or like a villain. It's all gray. There's no right or
Mhm.
wrong. It's subjective, and people are going to argue about it. And from day one, April and I didn't agree on whether we would use a simulant. So I think that's interesting. I think that makes for good storytelling.
Yeah, and it is what I've also kind of noticed throughout time is like obviously Westworld is both a man and a woman who created the show. And then Blade Runner is Ridley Scott and then Dennis Villeneuve. So you have like the male perspective of this and then also the female perspective now with both Westworld and April's. And I really do love kind of like how they differ and like how the stories are being told. Even though like they're both great stories, you can see those differences telling this story with a female director, was that a fun adventure to kind of like see her perspective on this genre and this kind of specific tale that we've seen a couple of times done very differently from each other, but it is something we know with the sci-fi genre.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of female directors, and I grew up with my mom and sister. My dad and I are very close, but my mom and dad separated when I was a kid, so I grew up in a
Mhm.
female household. And I've had really good experiences with female directors. April was awesome. She had just had a kid. She was like, you know, halfway through the day she would go to pump breast milk because she had to like live her life and plan for her child, and she was still like knew everything meticulously. She was great with the crew. She was great with the cast. She was on top of everything. And from day one, we were on the same page about the character. You know, my big thing was I have to trust the person who's directing, and without spoiling the ending, as you know, like it's a big swing. The ending, and I kept saying to April, because we shot that very close to the end of the movie, and I was like, did we earn it? Does this work? Are we good? And she was great. She always kept me, I'm a second guessing myself actor, and she just kept my head on straight, and I trusted her, and she's fantastic. I would love to work with her again.
Yeah, it was one of those movies that I was like, oh, this is people are going to talk about it, and I love Ex Machina, but I know it is dividing. So I'm really excited to kind of see the conversations that happen with this because like I really liked it, but I'm like, also I famously love movies who are like, hmm, what are these elements? I'm like, it ruled. I don't know, but
I wasn't sure. You know, it was one of those. I brought a bunch of friends to the Toronto premiere, and my mom was out of town, but I brought my dad, my sister, a bunch of my family, and they all said they loved it. But I'm like, I'm in it. You guys would say whatever. And my mom's always pretty honest with me, which is funny. And she loved it, but she loved the ending. She was like, I don't know if I can say it because I don't want to spoil anything. You've seen it, but I don't want
yeah,
to spoil it for anyone else. But my mom was like, I was so happy that you did that. I was like, whoa, whoa, mom, relax. She's like,
she's gonna
no,
get on
you
the internet because she's
yeah.
like, it
I'm
was
like,
great.
she's so funny. But yeah, I agree. I think the movie's super polarized. I think people are not going to agree about the decisions that some people make in this movie. But that's life. And that's just very true to the world that we live in.
Mhm.
People make decisions. Sometimes they're selfish, sometimes for the wrong reasons, but they make them. And that's that.
And also that's what good sci-fi does too. Is
Yeah.
makes you question all that things, and like that's why there's still conversations about is Rick Deckard a replicant? And I'm like, no, he
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was like 70 when they made that. So no, there's your answer. But thank you so much for talking with me today. I really like the movie and I can't wait to see. I've seen some of the conversations, but I can't wait to see more because I want to hear what everyone thinks about it because I liked it a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.